This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. What I'm looking at today is 2023's Transformers: Rise of the Beast, directed by Steven Caple Jr. Growing up, I was never a huge fan of the Transformers cartoons, but the idea that you have a vehicle changing into a robot was always interesting to me. By way of comparison, I didn't hate the GoBots, which were essentially the dollar store version of the Transformers, though I couldn't get around that the idea was in and of itself kind of interesting. Transformers: Rise of the Beast, after the Paramount and Skydance logos, opens on this lush planet where we eventually meet the Maximals, led by Optimus Primal, after the death of Ape-Link at the hands of a Terrorcon named Scourge. Scourge goes to this planet to find a transwarp key, though Scourge is not doing what he's doing alone. He works for Omicron, and Omicron wants to get to the Earth to devour it for reasons. In a lot of science fiction movies, the Earth has such significance and importance, and it's confusing because why? The Earth is just a planet like any other. I think what's driving this is that the writers think of humans as the pinnacle of creation, that humans are the most important thing ever, and we're really not. We aren't that fucking special. But for whatever reason, we seem to elevate ourselves, and it's underwriting a lot that goes on in Transformers: Rise of the Beast. So, as I was saying, Omicron wants to get to Earth and devour it, though I assume he doesn't know how to get here because he doesn't have the transwarp key, which the animals have taken to escape to Earth. Now, the transwarp key is activated by a human unwittingly, and Omicron sends Scourge to Earth. The movie never explains why Omicron himself, or I should say itself, though it speaks with a man's voice, I don't necessarily know if Omicron is male. The movie never quite explains why Omicron itself doesn't come to Earth, because clearly it knows where the planet is. Why? Well, because it sent Scourge and its minions to Earth to retrieve the transwarp key. So, I don't know, just come here already, you know where it is! Up to this point, which it goes without saying is going to shoot a beam into the sky for reasons. And the Maximals are trying to stop him from getting that key. Ape-Link, who happens to be the leader of the Maximals, is killed, though Maximal Prime and the other Maximals escape to Earth. The Maximals shouldn't look like apes without actually encountering apes. Maximals shouldn't look like hawks or falcons without actually encountering falcons. This is crucial to Transformers lore, and how it is that the people who write these movies don't seem to understand it is frustrating. And keep in mind, as I've said before, I'm not a huge Transformers fan, but yet somehow I know this. Though, to make matters even more confusing is that seemingly on this entire planet you have only these Maximals, which are just animal-based Transformers. This doesn't make any sense to me, because why are they there? Why are there only 4 or 5 of them on this planet? This is one of the issues I have with the Transformers in general, and this movie epitomizes it. Namely, why do they look the way they look? Why do they act the way they act? It doesn't quite make sense, because in the case of the Maximals, they look like gorillas and raptors like hawks and falcons and rhinoceroses. But on this planet, which is alien by the way, which there's no evidence that there are falcons, rhinoceroses, and gorillas on, why does this happen? It doesn't make any sense. The initial idea of the Transformers is that they're aliens from, I don't even recall which world they came from, Cybertron. They're aliens from Cybertron, and they take the form of trucks and cars and whatever to better integrate with humanity. Because the idea of a giant fucking robot walking around would probably raise a few eyebrows among the populace. So they have the ability to change the cars and trucks and whatever to blend in. Now the Maximals, which are on a planet where there seemingly aren't any Earth-based animals, don't make any sense. And if that weren't bad enough, you have these creatures that reside firmly in an uncanny valley, which is to say, they look like rhinoceroses, they look like gorillas, they look like raptors, yet they kind of don't. It's odd. The animation is very good, but it doesn't quite work. It just pulled me out of the movie. And that's not to say it's bad, because I couldn't do it, but then again, I can't do lots of things. Just because I can't do something doesn't by definition mean that it's good. And another thing is that these Maximals spoke in English. Why are they speaking in English? Are there humans on this alien planet? I don't know. I don't see any, so I'm going to assume there aren't. So, once again, why are they speaking in English? Never mind English, American English. I understand Transformers Rise of the Beast is an American film released by an American studio, but that's neither here nor there. It's a movie that's intended to be seen by an international audience, and therefore it should at least have a certain logic to it. It should make sense to anyone that sees it, and this movie doesn't. I suspect this is due to the writers of the Transformers thinking that English as spoken in the United States is some sort of universal language, and it's really not. It's entirely based on economic dominance, as in the United States is a power in the world. So therefore English is a language that's spoken all over. Though in the broader sense, that's meaningless. In the sense of the world of the Transformers, they have no recognition of that. They have no idea of the preeminence of the United States and its way of doing things, for better or for worse. Therefore, they should not be speaking American English. And in fact, they should not be speaking English at all. Though, you might ask yourself, how do I resolve that? It's easy! All you do is have them speak a foreign language and have subtitles. Not only should they not be speaking English, as I referenced earlier, they should not look like animals found on Earth. It makes no sense. And once again, it's easy to remedy. Have them look like some weird creature native to that planet. It goes without saying that you need to show us that creature that they're mimicking. Let viewers see this stuff. We're not, well, most of us, aren't stupid. This is the whole point of the Transformers. And as I said before, it's not rocket science. It's fairly obvious, though for some reason the writers of Transformers Rise of the Beast can't quite seem to glom onto a fairly easy to digest point, which is irritating because Steven Caple Jr. is bringing something to this movie, yet the writers seem to be undermining everything that he's trying to do. Another issue with Transformers Rise of the Beast is that it mimics a plot of virtually every Transformers movie. Namely, they're always looking for a MacGuffin. They're looking for something which is going to shoot a beam into the sky and do something. This trope needs to stop because it's getting really old. I'm so tired of things shooting beams into the sky. Marvel does it. DC Films, which is now known as DC Studios, did it as well. Now the Transformers movies do it. Stop it! Stop shooting beams into the sky! It's irritating, it's cliche, and it's just done. The question people who watch Transformers Rise of the Beast should be asking is that, why don't the people who are writing this movie know that? Transformers Rise of the Beast is nothing we haven't seen before. It's these characters composed of X's and O's running around. We get Transformers that are entirely new, though we meet Noah Diaz. And now I'm starting to get interested because the movie is starting to revolve around humans. And not only does Transformers Rise of the Beast start to revolve around humans, but humans that look like me. I know, the idea of diversity is just kind of blah, blah, blah. But trust me, it's important. I begin to empathize with Noah Diaz. And I like where this is going. It is familiar to me. And so the movie starts to go into Noah Diaz's life and what he's trying to deal with and so on and so forth. This is not unusual for the Transformers movies. Though the difference is that the movies are starting to acknowledge that white people aren't the only people that matter. And once again, that is important. It is crucial, in fact. So I'm getting involved with this now because I like these characters. Sure, their situation is fairly cliche. Noah Diaz is alone with his brother. He's trying to care for him. He's trying to find a job. It's cliche. I get it. We've seen this tons of times. But we haven't seen it tons of times in a Transformers movie. It's new here. And that's interesting. And it works. And his character is fairly empathetic. And I enjoy it. And so the movie is trying to establish that there's more to it than just Michael Bay-esque explosions and stuff. And that's welcome. It's doing something that you don't typically see in Transformers movies. If you've seen the second Transformers movie, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, you'll notice that there are two characters that are, dare I say, racist.
With you guys, technically, I'm like a hostage. This is kidnapping. Enough is...
Yo, lay out!
This thing's gonna give me a heart attack, I swear.
That's because you the
You
one.
guys forced me into that car, right? So...
Oh, I think he's scared.
Hey, Mudflat, what are we gonna do with this shrimp taco?
I'm just bumper tapping his ass, throw him in the truck, and then nobody gonna know nothing, not me.
Yeah, not in my
Yo,
trunk.
bumper cars? Check it out. I'm hearing you, okay? I'm right here, and I can hear you. No one's popping any caps in any asses, okay? I've had a hell of a day.
Why don't you get a haircut with your bitch ass?
Go whine to your boyfriend.
Listen, Sam, I know what I'm gonna do, man. Look, I'm just gonna go to the authorities and tell them the truth. Like, I had nothing to do with this. I'm gonna
Hey, we gotta find somebody who can.
Oh, look who came sashaying back.
Hair growing like a chia pet. Look at him.
I had a
Look
bit
at
of a
that.
mild panic attack earlier, right?
That's because you a pussy.
Yeah, I think I'm allowed that considering what I've been through. And I heard you have a problem. I think I know someone who can help.
I put the blame for this existing entirely on Michael Bay's shoulders. Because while he may not have written the Transformers movies, he is the director. He could have said, whoa, that sounds a little offensive. Can you not do that? But he chose not to. I don't know why. I am not going to speculate. Though Steven Caple Jr. seems to be almost apologizing for what Michael Bay did in Transformers Rise of the Beast by introducing Mirage, who is voiced by Pete Davidson. And Mirage is very urban, which is to say, the way he speaks and does things feels very African-American coded. Mirage is generally an interesting character. That's not to say that Mirage isn't a cliche in the way that a lot of the robots in the Transformers movies are. But what separates Mirage from what was done in Michael Bay's movies is that Mirage at least is subtle. He seems to have imitated a particular type of people, but it's not so on the nose. You can say Mirage is just, as I said, urban. He could be acting as a white person, a very hip white person to be sure, but he is not an Uncle Tomabot or an Uncle Tomatron. I don't know, but it works better, though Steven Caple Jr. and the people who wrote Transformers Rise of the Beast shouldn't have needed to create what is essentially an apology for what Michael Bay did in Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts is not a great movie, though it shows the difficulty that Paramount and Skydance have with trying to move this franchise forward. They're clearly trying to course correct for some of the issues that Michael Bay's interpretation of these characters brought about. But it's hard. And part of the difficulty is coming from the fact that they're clearly afraid of altering Michael Bay's formula. So these newer movies are falling into the same trap. The only way forward for this franchise, by my reckoning, is to break out of that trap. And you do that by doing things differently. You do it by taking risks. Now, what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. If you agree, disagree, let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow.